In Sydney, gymnast Mitchell McLean vanishes off the face of the earth.
It's hurting me. And it hurts the family, which then hurts me even more.
He's only 14. His mum is desperate.
If anyone else sees him, could they please ring the police so that we can just know that he's okay?
In Brisbane, police use computers to help solve a 13-year mystery.
In order to make this look like he's 39, I need to know what that family will do at 39.
This is what Bill Roach should look like today.
I think that'll do the job.
And finally, forensics bring closure to this baffling case.
We do have both mum's and dad's DNA samples on file, so we will be able to get a nuclear DNA sample if it's required.
5 years of torture is about to end.
We've got a digital sensor which will actually spit the image straight onto the computer.
Good morning all, another busy day on today.
At the Sydney Missing Persons Unit, it's another full load of new and old cases.
Andy, we've got a 14-year-old boy missing from Alexandria. That's been reported to Leichhardt LAC Glebe.
Senior Constable Andy Drummond is assigned the worrying case of missing schoolboy Mitchell McLean. The champion gymnast took off 14 days ago, and his mum hasn't heard from him since.
Yeah, this 14-year-old suffers from ADHD and he's off his meds at the moment. And mum's fairly concerned about him. The detectives have been down from Dubbo about the Stewarttown remains, and Graham's at the morgue at the moment.
Police believe the unidentified remains found on a New South Wales farm belong to a Victorian man called Stewart, who disappeared back in 2002.
Rather hoping they'll get a result because this has been 5 years with the family. Mark's called, been some good news. Crime Stoppers reports of Bill Roach sightings are firming up.
Bill Roach went missing 13 years ago and police thought he'd been murdered. But a recent sighting by a friend and multiple calls to Crime Stoppers suggest he's alive and well in Brisbane.
So let's get to it. Have a good day. We've got lots of work to do.
Thanks, Bob.
Back in Sydney,
Yeah, g'day, Anita, it's Senior Constable Andy Drummond, Missing Persons at Parramatta. How you going?
Oh, good, thanks. How are you?
Andy's calling Glebe Police, chasing an update on the case of missing 14-year-old gymnast Mitchell McLean.
Just a little bit concerned about him. I've just noticed he's got ADHD. He's also on medication and hasn't taken it for a while, so I know that when he doesn't take it, he gets a bit violent.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
After 14 days without medicine and no family contact, police fear the worst.
I think there's some intel on our system for some places in Leichhardt, so we might start checking those out today and see how we go.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye.
There's two concerns, really. Young age, he's only 14 years old, and also he's ADHD sufferer, so we don't want to see him get in any type of trouble at a young age, so yeah.
Back in Queensland, the long-term case of missing Armidale man Bill Roach is hotting up.
That Brian could well be the subject of that Crime Stoppers. So someone's rung up genuinely believing that this fella's our fella.
Sergeant Mark Samways arrived in Brisbane to follow up on sightings of Bill Roach.
This guy knew him intimately.
An old university mate, Bly Grant, says he saw Bill only days before.
He might have even got to the corner, but that's when I decided to follow him.
Multiple Crime Stoppers reports also place Bill in the same area.
It might have been this intersection or the next one.
And there's a good chance he's been caught on surveillance cameras.
It's definitely the one he thinks is Bill.
Then, after a day of searching the local bars,
around on a motorcycle, on a motorised bike. I've seen him in Wynnum because I live in Wynnum myself.
the bloke on the bike who's supposed to be Bill Roach shows up.
You Brian? Brian? Yeah. Yeah, g'day. Mark, please, how are you? We're from Sydney, but we're looking for a missing person who went missing 13 years ago. It's not you?
No.
Someone telephoned us and said that this man rides a bike like you.
That's not me.
No, but can you see?
But there's no mistaking the similarity. And this explains the high number of calls to Crime Stoppers.
Okay. All right, no worries.
All right, good
Thank
on
you. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, mate.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Brian.
If you didn't know better, you would say
Yeah,
that is Brian.
Yeah.
Look, as you say, 12, 13 years ago.
And that's the problem. The calls were based on 13-year-old photographs of Bill Roach. Back in Sydney, in the case of 14-year-old runaway Mitchell McLean,
It's been around 11:30 since last Thursday.
after being briefed by Andy at the Missing Persons Unit, his mum Anne hits the phones.
And get as much information off them as possible and then probably go looking for him.
But with no news, it's all too much for Anne, and she takes to the streets herself.
Well, I've put up the flyers. I've contacted nearly everybody I know and got them and their friends out, like just keeping an eye out for him. I've been into shopping centres to the security section and given them the photo and asked them, like, if they see him to ring the police.
Mitchell McLean is a champion athlete, but without medication for his hyperactivity, he gets carried away and often gets into trouble.
We go for a drive around the streets looking for him, and we've been putting up posters to see if anyone sees him, and we've written on the posters, like, if he sees the picture, can he please ring home? I don't care if he doesn't come home straight away, but as long as he rings home, I know he's all right. It'll make me a lot easier for me. But not hearing anything at all, it's tearing me apart.
After 14 days of silence, the stress is taking its toll on Anne and her family.
Before is nothing compared to now. To start off with, it's anger, heaps of anger, like, why is he doing this and that? And then as the days go on, it's more worried and upsetting. And wondering what he's getting up to, whether he's getting into drugs or crime and that sort of thing. It's really hard. I try to hide it from my kids, but to try not to upset them, but it's hard.
In Sydney, Anne McLean's missing poster drop is working.
So they're fairly reliable sightings, are they?
After 2 long weeks, Mitchell's been spotted. Andy's asked local police to urgently follow up on the reports. So Constable Scott Curtin and Senior Constable Anita Masilo waste no time.
We're on our way to an address in White Street, Lilyfield. We've received information that he may be there, so we're just going to go around and check it out.
Anita knows time is critical. She needs to investigate the leads before Mitchell leaves the area.
He's 14 years of age. He's too young to be roaming around, but from our records, he's been moving about in the last few days out in the street, but obviously his welfare is a high risk.
Back at Brisbane's Missing Persons Unit, Jim Ryan is talking with a photo ageing specialist.
All right, and you need the parent photos, if we can, round about the same age, siblings, those sorts of things. All right. Okay.
To assist with the ageing process, they would like photos of any siblings, like in their mid-30s, and also photos of Bill's parents at approximately 37 years of age.
I know where his biological mum and dad are, and Bill's also got 3 or 4 male siblings. So we should be able to get all those photos that your fellow requires.
As Mark Samways heads back to Sydney, he knows the aged photo is the last throw of the dice in this 13-year-old case. Meanwhile, on the hunt for 14-year-old runaway Mitchell McLean,
I'm pretty sure it's actually inside. So
Anita's been told he might be hiding out at a housing commission unit here in the inner city.
Yeah, radio, just for your information, we're going off at White Street, Lilyfield.
An anonymous informant has revealed Mitchell has been hiding here with his best mate. If Anita's information is right, she'll find Mitchell McLean behind this closed door. At police headquarters in Brisbane, forensic artist John Garner has just received the pictures he'll use to create a current photo of Bill Roach.
Now, first viewing of these, I'm looking for family traits. It's fairly obvious looking at these, there are certain characteristics within this family that will pass down through the various siblings.
John now has photos of Bill Roach's biological brothers and mother at the same age that Bill would be today.
In order to make this look like he's 39, I need to know what that family will do at 39. Once I've scanned the photos, I can then put it on the computer and basically work with the actual images.
He splits the faces like a plastic surgeon, then combines them to show how similar their structures are.
I know, looking at them, that the family will age in that manner and provide me with some very handy type skin lines, wrinkles. And there's that shape of the face again, the lines down here, the shape of the nose. The general overall layout of the face is very similar to the son's. We know that the nose is very, very close, so I'm not going to modify that at all. The mouth is very close. I'll bring in the original missing person and make sure that this face is precisely the same as the face of the missing person.
But one feature doesn't match, and it makes John's task much harder.
The thing that doesn't really gel with the rest of the family is the shape of the hair. He's now going to have probably a receding line, something like that, with this style of hairdo.
But in this job, near enough is not good enough. John has to get it right, or it's all been a waste of time. Meanwhile, Anita's acting on a tip-off that 14-year-old Mitchell McLean's been staying here with his mate.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Good.
My name's Senior Constable Mazzillo. I'm from Leichhardt Police. We've come here to inquire about a young boy that may be staying here at this location. Mitchell?
No, see. Me not understand.
You don't understand?
No.
What? You don't?
This boy don't understand.
Who doesn't understand? Yourself? Do you know Mitchell? A young boy, 14. Mitchell McLean?
No.
What about Peter?
Peter school today.
Okay.
My grandson.
Oh, Peter's your grandson?
Yeah.
Mrs. Clapper's grandson, Peter, is one of Mitchell's best mates.
Okay. Did Peter have a friend staying here?
No. No friend in my flat.
No friend in your flat?
No.
Okay.
You go school.
Okay, I will.
Peter's explain.
All right. No problem.
If she does know anything, Mrs. Clappers isn't saying much. But the anonymous caller was positive Mitchell's living here.
We may have to speak to her grandson and see if he can provide us with any information.
But then, on the way out, Anita spots a boy with a red jumper, just like the one Mitchell was last seen wearing.
How come you're not at school today?
I'm expelled.
Do you know Mitchell McLean at all? Are you sure about that? Because he was wearing a red jumper. It's a bit of a coincidence. He's been sighted around this area. Do you know anywhere that he hangs? Do you know who his mates are? Can you give me anything?
I know nothing.
Honestly, he's not in any trouble.
No.
His mum just wants to know that he's okay.
She's always spoken to me.
Oh, you've spoken to his mum? So if you see him, can you get him to call his mum?
Although he's spoken to
So get him to
Mitchell's
call his
mum, he reckons he doesn't even know Mitchell. And it's this teenage code of silence that makes finding these kids such a nightmare.
Mitchell, if you see this, could you please ring home? Because we love you and we're really worried about you. And if anyone else sees him, could they please ring the police so that we can just know that he's okay?
Back at the McLean household...
Hi, it's Anne McLean, Mitchell's mum. Someone just tried to ring me. Yep, thank you.
Anne's still making calls, this time to Mitchell's school, praying someone has seen him.
Yeah, I've got a poster up at the bus depot, and so all the drivers should know today that if they see him, to ring the police.
And the call does bring encouraging news.
Bye. That was just Mitchell's principal at Green Square. One of the boys that goes to school with him apparently can get in contact with someone who knows where Mitchell is this afternoon, but he said he's not meeting him till after school.
Anne's frantic attempts to find her son are finally paying off.
See if we can find anyone who knows anything.
So, as school finishes, Anita and Scott head to the local park, where Mitchell's supposed to be meeting his friends.
How old do you reckon that guy is on the bench?
Too tall.
He's definitely too old, I would say.
Red shirt or blue shirt?
Red.
There's a whole handful before.
But once again, Mitchell has slipped away.
Tiny little bit too late.
Here at Sydney's Glebe Morgue, Dubbo detectives Nick Caceres and Luke Scott carry the sad evidence that may finally bring an end to one family's suffering.
Yesterday morning around 5:45, a farmer came across what appeared to be a human skull whilst he was mustering cattle.
Last week on the show, Sergeants Graham Hook and Vanessa Rolfe received news on a 5-year-old case.
I read in the original event that Stuart went missing from near the railway station at Stewarttown.
Yeah.
Stuart was on his way to Queensland when he stopped in this small country town. A day later, after being seen near the train tracks, he disappeared.
And where the skull was found is probably around 500 metres from the railway line.
The remains will be taken to the Institute of Forensic Medicine at Glebe, where they'll be subjected to further examination and using DNA and dental records hopefully identified.
The remains will stay here until forensics can confirm whether or not it's their missing person.
That'll be confirmed tomorrow with the forensic dentist and the forensic pathologist and ascertain, if we can ascertain, what the cause of death was.
Back in Sydney, after 15 long days of searching, there is still no news for Mitchell's mum, Anne.
We've spoken to a few people today on the information that we had. The place down in White Street, Lilyfield, I don't think he's residing there, the grandmother.
Apparently he was down there yelling out to someone, so he's trying to get someone's attention, some other kid. But he's definitely with kids from Leichhardt High.
Oh, yeah, well, we've just come from Pioneer Park. Unfortunately, I think we're a touch too late, but we might get a car to go up
Mitchell
there
has
again.
run away once before, but he's never been away this long.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I appreciate the help.
No problems. Thanks for that.
It's hurting me. And it hurts the family, which then hurts me even more. He just doesn't understand, or he doesn't want to understand how he's hurting everybody else.
Back at the New South Wales Department of Forensic Medicine, Professor Chris Griffiths has received dental records for Stuart, the missing Victorian man last seen 5 years ago.
It'll actually spit the image straight onto the computer screen.
The process takes time. Every single tooth must be photographed and compared to Stuart's dental records.
If you can see in the middle of the tooth, that dark space, that's where the nerve is. Can you look at the shape of it on there? See how the similarity between the outline of the nerve canal there to the nerve canal in that one there. Then you also look at how the back of this tooth has been chipped away. It's broken out as this part of this large cavity that he'd gone to see the dentist, and that's chipped away there too, so you can see the chipping there.
So, is this their missing man?
It looks, fairly high that this could be the individual.
While the coroner will determine how Stuart died, it's a tragedy no family should ever have to deal with.
It's probably not the best outcome for them, but at least now they've got closure. The wondering ceases for them, and I guess the grieving starts.
And just as one case closes, another begins. The high-risk case of missing schoolgirl Jessica Smith is breaking.
Jessica's mum is extremely worried at this point. We believe she's in the mountains with her boyfriend and his 5 mates, so as any mum would be, your daughter's up in the mountains with 5 males, Big concern.
Jessica is only 13. It's no wonder this case has caught the attention of everyone at the Missing Persons Unit.
Is that Carol?
Yes, it is.
Carol, it's Mandy Gale from the Missing Persons Unit. How are you going?
Okay.
Mandy's calling Jessica's distraught mum, Caroline.
And her boyfriend's name?
DJ. That's all I know him as.
And does she have access to money? Like, does she have her own bank account?
No.
At all? So she has no access to funds at all?
Nope.
Okay, well, are you going to be home today at all?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just try and put our heads together, I guess, and have a think of where she may have gone, and if she's not at Katoomba, then, you know, we need to sort of think of some other places she may frequent.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. Poor thing. I think she's concerned she's hanging with people that are doing the wrong thing. And she probably is in trouble, you know, 13 years old up in the mountains with 5 guys. It's not a good thing. So we're out to see Mum. She's really distressed.
In Sydney, while police race off to find missing schoolgirl Jessica Smith, 16 days after he vanished, 14-year-old Mitchell McLean has turned up out of the blue.
I actually found him in the park. Went up, put my legs between his legs and got the back of his shirt and said, "Come on, let's go." And he just come, no problems.
Same my mum, she was driving past and I jumped in the car and went home. Didn't feel like staying out no more. Got boring.
And we're just talking and he said he wanted to come home but he didn't know how to come home, and it was just like a dilemma for him.
Yeah, when she put up the signs, it made me realise that she was worried a lot.
Senior Constable Anita Masillo now needs to cite him before she can close the case.
Hi guys. Mitchell, finally meet you. How are you? It's good to see you home. So where were you hanging about?
Mates' houses.
Yeah?
In the street with my mates.
Yeah? It's not really a safe thing to do, mate.
Anita warns Mitchell that peer pressure can be a very dangerous thing.
You know, when you're with your friends and that, it feels like that, you know, because there's a group of you, that it's safer, but the street's not a particularly nice place for a 14-year-old boy to be hanging around, you know? It's nice to come home and have your mum looking after you. Yeah? All right, Mitchell. Take care. No problem. We'll see you around, hopefully, but on better terms.
Good basis.
Okay, guys. Thanks for that.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.
You did it for once in her life?
Mitchell's back. And his mum, Anne, hopes it's for good.
I've talked him into staying at school. Like, we've had big talks and that, and I'll just have to take one day at a time, see what happens.
Meanwhile, at police headquarters in Brisbane, forensic artist John Garner is making the final adjustments to his aged photo of missing man Bill Roach.
He's closer in general shape to this particular brother here, the one at the top. What I've done is to split, copy half of that photo and bring it onto my work page here like so.
John's created a virtual mannequin using Bill's brother's features. But he's still having trouble with the hairstyle.
You got something to show me?
So he's asked case officer Jim Ryan to come in to give him a hand.
What's missing now is basically the hair, but what's interesting about this is the way in which both of the siblings have got a receding section down here and a little bit of grey just in that neighbourhood there. My personal thought is that this hairstyle is probably more accurate.
And there he is 13 years later. Bill Roach, aged 39. Once finished, they immediately send a copy to Mark and other police around the country.
So what we've got now is what our police artists in Queensland believe Bill would look like as a 39-year-old. And I'd appeal to anyone out there that knows the whereabouts of Bill to give Crime Stoppers a call, 1800 333 000. It's vital that we get information to give some closure to both Bill's families.
Back in Sydney, Mandy Gale and Gary Bailey are on their way to meet 13-year-old runaway Jessica Smith's mum.
My concerns would be that She's only done this on one prior occasion, which was a week ago, and she came home. She hasn't done anything like this in the past. Obviously, the age of the male she's with, she's only 13, and yeah, the fact she's had no contact with her mum. 13-year-old with adult males is a bit of a worry.
The trail for 13-year-old Jessica leads to this mountain hideaway. But are they telling the truth? Whatever happened to bushwalker Alan Kennedy and the desperate search for a missing father? Where is baby Carla's dad?
Come home or let us know that you're all right.